Hi, everyone. Earlier today, I had a members chat and we talked through the book, The Rules, specifically chapter 2. This book is about a dating technique that Megan allegedly really followed. We had a great chat talking about the text. We also had discussions on each major topic. We related everything back to the Harry and Meghan dynamic. And finally, I took 7 tips that were in chapter 2 and I talked about some healthy alternatives to them. I also made an announcement that I'm going to use YouTube to point out the manipulative, toxic behavior. And I'm going to use Patreon as more of a healing space. As a companion to chapter 2, I will be uploading a guide on my Patreon. I choose to do this on Patreon because so many people have asked for a healing space, and I feel that I will have more control. And I feel that Patreon could be a safer space. And also, your privacy would be better suited there because your comments would only be seen by other members. Also, for the month of July, I've decided not to charge for the paid membership. So if you join today, you'll have access to everything that I've posted to the members previously. Just remember to cancel if you don't want to continue with it in August. And without further ado, let's get into chapter 2 of the rules. But before we begin, here's the intro. Welcome to Revealing the Narc. Join me as I highlight narcissistic traits in celebrities and public figures. Everything here is in my opinion and not professional advice. If you enjoy the analysis, please like and subscribe. Okay, so the chapter begins. How many times have you heard someone say, she's nice, she's pretty, she's smart, why isn't she married? Were they talking about you, perhaps? Ever wonder why women who are not so pretty or smart attract men almost effortlessly? Frankly, many women we know find it easier to relocate to another state, switch careers, or run a marathon than get the right man to marry them. If this sounds like you, then you need the rules. Now, let's end the section 1 there. I'm already pretty annoyed about it. It's so, I don't know, I feel like it's such superficial content. And I mean, maybe it makes sense why Megan connected so much with this book. So, what I want to ask you from this section that we just read, have you ever felt like people didn't understand why you were still single, even though you seemed like a catch? And I also want to say that this book is written as a tool for women to pursue a man or to land a man or however you want to put it. But I want to think of it in generalized terms. It's seeking a romantic partner, regardless of what gender or what sex you are. And I want to do it that way because I think maybe the dynamics are similar. You all let me know what you think. So, again, what do you think? Have you ever felt like people didn't understand why you were still single, even though you seem like a catch? I'm going to answer this. And I mean, I have people say this to me all the time. And they say, what's the deal? For a long time, I did internalize this. Like maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm just too aware of red flags. Maybe I'm too picky. Maybe I read too much into signs. But you know what? I feel like when it's meant to happen, it's going to happen. And there is somehow some type of a dig when this question is asked because they're almost asking, what's wrong with you? Right? Do you guys get that feeling too when you read this sentence that they're almost asking you, what's wrong with you? Carol says, when Beyond Pluto read it, it felt like it was about manipulating a man. And I hear you, Carol. It's totally that. Or a partner. Yes, I feel that too. It really is it really is toxic, I feel. And actually, when we close out this chapter, I'm gonna give a list of the advice basically that's given in chapter 2, and then I'm gonna give maybe a healthier way to do that. Lizzie says they used to ask that about me. What they didn't understand is that I don't just date anyone. Yes, I have to feel a connection. And that's what it is. People have to earn your trust, your respect, your time, your love, right? I mean, I know I used to give all of that away freely, and I no longer do that. So that's I feel is healthy and is balanced and is valuing yourself, right? Because not everybody gets access to me. And I think it's so important. Lulu's mom says you have to be complete for yourself before you should give to someone else. Absolutely. Absolutely, Lulu's mom. I agree. Steve says it's so superficial. Yes, like playing a game to win a guy, not actually to find a life partner. And the irony is that the goal of the book is to find a life partner, but it's all a game, like you said, very superficial, Steve. And now I'm going to ask you, do you see any connection here maybe to Megan? Do you think Megan played this this angle up? Like I could totally see her projecting herself as a total package and then bringing that to Harry's attention maybe when she met like look how great I am. Look how wonderful I am. People and like when someone asks me people wonder why you're single, my immediate thought is they think that there's something wrong with me. But I feel Megan would twist that and be like, people genuinely wonder, like, why am I still single? I am so awesome. That's that's my perspective on it. Peekaboo says, people that know me know I don't need a partner to feel whole. The right person is a bonus for me. Exactly. Exactly, Peekaboo. I remember my sister when I was younger, she said something like, in order to be part of a whole, you have to be whole yourself, right? And, the bigger whole meaning the partnership, the romantic relationship. In order to be part of that, you need to be full in yourself and whole in yourself. Peekaboo says 100% she needs someone to give her status, but that she can put done. Yep. Carol says this is why the book connected with Megan due to playing games with her bed partners. Absolutely. Absolutely, everybody. Okay, so let's get to the second part. The second part is going to define what the rules are. It says, what are the rules? They are a simple way of acting around men that can help any woman win the heart of the man of her dreams. Sound too good to be true? We were skeptical at first, too. The purpose of the rules is to make Mr. Right obsessed with having you as his by making yourself seem unattainable. In plain language, we're talking about playing hard to get. Follow the rules, and he will not just marry you, but feel crazy about you forever. What we're promising you is happily ever after, a marriage truly made in heaven. Okay, let's end the passage there. Wow, right? It sounds like an infomercial, doesn't it? It's like, what are some lines from an infomercial? But wait, there's more. Like, yes, it's absolutely so superficial. Absolutely. So let's get to what I want to ask you here. Do you think that playing hard to get is empowering or is it manipulative? Lulu's mom says, remember the movie 16 Candles? The dad didn't have to worry about the daughter who was independent, not the other sister who was dependent. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to rewatch that movie too, just as Carol says. I remember I really love that movie. Love that movie. So I think when we say playing hard to get, the intention is really important. And this is what we were saying earlier. If you're doing it to preserve your own energy and self worth, like we were saying before, I'm not going to chase someone who doesn't show me the value. I'm not going to put more effort into relationships than other people do. You have to earn access to me, and it's because you're recognizing your boundaries essentially. That's different than if you're playing these games to control or to confuse someone, and that's manipulation. And I think that is the tricky thing here with the rules because this book is blurring the lines and almost encouraging you to see love as a game, a strategy rather than authentic connection. Yes, peekaboo. If you have the connection, you don't need to play games. Hard to get is manipulative and it's faking. Steve says Megan was looking for money, power, and fame and not a life partner. Agreed. She absolutely was. And we know for certain, we've heard all these stories. Megan did play hard to get just from her first date. I think I've showed you guys a clip before where Megan does exactly that. She says, "Oh, I told Harry on our first date that I had to go somewhere." And she does the Duper's Delight smile. She didn't actually have to go somewhere. She was playing hard to get. Let's see. And Carol absolutely agrees. Yes, yes, exactly. The way I was describing it is healthy. It's valuing yourself. It's setting healthy boundaries. It's the intention behind this playing hard to get. Like I feel for me, it's not that I'm playing hard to get, but maybe I don't know. I value myself and my time, and I don't just let everybody have access to me. Lulu's mom says which has nothing whatsoever to do with love or emotion. You would think that would be part of it. Exactly, 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 exactly. Peekaboo says that is a normal way of getting to know each other, having some distance to know what you want. Absolutely. Carol says Catherine had a solid upbringing and didn't fall all over herself for William and ignored William. It was William who chased Catherine. So I don't know a lot about their courtship, but what I did see is that Catherine is an independent woman, and she had a life outside of William. I think when was it when I don't remember what it was, but she was on a rowing team and she had a competition, but then she couldn't go to the competition because some news had broken, I think. Let me know if you all remember what that was. All right, guys. Oh, it was 2007 post breakup. Thank you, Carol. Yeah, so she had a life outside of it. She had goals and things she was accomplishing. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's get to part 3. And I have to tell you, some of these things are so heavily ingrained in us as young adults, I feel, that it's well, let me read it to you. The passage begins. Men are different from women. Women who call men, ask them out, conveniently have 2 tickets to a show, or offer um, relations on the first date destroy male ambition and animal drive. Men are born to respond to challenge. Take away challenge, and their interest wanes. That, in a nutshell, is the premise of the rules. Sure, a man might marry you if you don't do the rules, but we can't guarantee that yours will be a good marriage. This is how it works. If men love challenge, we become challenging. But don't ask a man if he loves challenge. He may think or even say he doesn't. He may not even realize how he reacts. Pay attention to what he does, not what he says. Let's end the passage there. Oh my goodness. So this part really kind of makes me laugh. It says, sure, a man might marry if you don't do the rules, but we can't guarantee that yours will be a good marriage. Can the authors guarantee that following the rules does give you a good marriage? I don't think it does either. And then I do have to say that it does say pay attention to what he does, not what he says. And this is just advice for everybody. You know, a lot of people can give you word candy. I know I'm very vulnerable to the words that people say. So it's really important to look at people's actions, because if the actions and the words don't match up, that's like dig deeper and investigate that. Someone can say all the most loving things to you. Your boss at work could tell you the greatest thing, but when it comes for promotion, what does it mean if they don't if they pass you up? Right? So really look at people's actions towards you. Peekaboo says, "What? You'll get one weird partner. Be cautious and take your time." Great, great. Steve says, "In a healthy relationship, it will move at its own pace if you are genuine." Absolutely. So let's get into the question. Let's get into the question I want to ask you for this section. What expectations does this create around men and relationships? And now let's interchange men with whoever your romantic interest is. Like, is it important to be a challenging person? It's essentially the same thing as before, saying to play hard to get. However, in this section, the authors are implying that there's a biological difference for the reason that this is happening, that men just love challenge, men love to chase, men are it's important for them to feel like they are what's the word I'm looking for, like a predator prey type of relationship, right? That's the implication, and I don't like that. I don't like that, and I feel that these expectations, become a challenge. These are next level Disney fantasy. Like this person that you're romantically interested in is suddenly going to become obsessed, rock solid, emotionally available partner just because you're following this script and playing this game. That's not love, that's a marketing response. And real relationships, they require depth, communication, and mutual growth, not just dangling yourself as a prize. And let me see what your comments are. Lizzie is saying that Carol hit the target. So let's see what Carol said. Carol said, be honest and genuine, but have a life outside your romantic relationship. It will be healthier for you. 100%. 100%. Lulu's mom says, I only went for alpha males. And Lulu's mom, I have to tell you, that's what I'm attracted to as well. It's just, who am I to give advice, right? I was in a marriage with a narcissist for 11 years. But I do hope that when it is time for me to pursue someone romantically, that it's in a healthy, balanced way and it's authentic. And this whole thing is screaming in authentic. Peekaboo says, looks like they see men as puppies, trick them with a toy, and they follow you around like a lovesick puppy. Yes. And you know what, Peekaboo, that is so wild that you say that, because doesn't this then justify Meghan treating Harry the way she does? Doesn't the belief in this book and the belief in these theories, if you believe in that, it's not far fetched for Meghan to treat Harry the way she does, control him, touch him when she wants him to move and all of that, right? So, what do you all think? Do you think this is something that Meghan does believe? And I feel like she does, and especially this like Disney fantasy that the man is going to become obsessed. She really was pursuing. It's come out of her own mouth that she feels that she was like Ariel in the Little Mermaid. Like, and then what was it? When Catherine was getting married, Meghan put up a blog post mocking women and this childhood fantasy of wanting the prince and the fairy tale, right? But she really is wanting that. And when you hear her narrative, when she talks about her relationship with Harry, it's very glossed over, very trying to make it seem how romantic and lovely it is. But then she goes on Jamie Kern Lima's podcast and she says, that man is so in love with me. Nowhere does she say she's in love with him. She says, he is so in love with me. It's wild. And I mean, as we're going through this, just evidence is coming up over and over again. It would make sense why Meghan is so drawn to this book. Carol says it's just games, and most relationships based on this model will collapse. Yeah, because at some point you want to let your hair down. You want to be comfortable with your partner. What if you end up, what if you do marry them and live with them? Are you supposed to have this facade on 24/7? Carol continues and says, yes, Meghan loves playing games. The difference is Catherine married for love, yet Meghan married for titles, money, and fame. Yep. Steve says these people have no idea how a healthy relationship is formed. It's just garbage. You don't want an obsessive partner that's just codependent. Absolutely. Peekaboo says for Catherine wasn't a childhood fantasy. She fell in love with William and he happened to be a prince. She was realistic about what that meant. Lulu's mom says, I've never been with anyone I didn't love. I'm old school. Same, Lulu's mom. Same. I'm also old school. Absolutely. You guys, give me 1 second. My air conditioner is going off and I'm freezing. I'm going to go on mute for just 1 second. Okay, everyone, I'm back. It's like there was something my ex-husband used to say. He was a narcissist, and there were lessons I learned from him and a lot of funny things, that did come out of the relationship. And one of the things was I don't know if it was from a movie or something like that, but like when I have the air conditioner off, I'm like heating up. And then as soon as the air conditioner turns on, it's good for like half a second. And then I'm freezing. And I just remember, like, if I ever said that out loud in front of my ex-husband, he would jokingly say, well, I see there's no pleasing you. And I'm pretty sure that's from a cartoon. I just don't know what cartoon it was or what movie it was. But anyways, so that just reminded me of that. All right. Okay. So All right. Okay. So now let's get into section 4. And here's how the passage begins. As you read this book, you may think the rules are too calculating and wonder, how hard to get do I have to be? Am I never to cook him dinner or take him to a Broadway show? What if I just feel like talking to him? Can't I call? When may I reveal personal things about myself? The answer is read the rules. Follow them completely and not a la carte, and you will be happy you did. How many of us know women who never quite trust their husbands and always feel slightly insecure? They may even see therapists to talk about why their husbands don't pay attention to them. The rules will save you about $125 an hour in therapy bills. So let's end it there. I mean, it's just so superficial. And just the comments off the bat, if I have to sit there and wonder, like, when do I cook him dinner and can I invite him to a show and when can I don't want a relationship that's so this is walking on eggshells, is it not? Is this not walking? Do I cook him dinner? Can I take him to a Broadway show? What if I just want to talk to him? Can I call him? It's too much. This is so stressful. And then it says, how many of us know women who never quite trust their husbands? I feel like the rules are setting you up, or the premise is that you don't already trust your husband, that you do have to play this game in order to get him or be with him or whatever. You will let me know what you think about that. And now I want to ask you, based on what we just read, do you think that men or the person that you're pursuing, the romantic interest you're pursuing, do they lose interest when women or whoever is the romantic interest, you guys know what I mean, if the other person is too available, or is that outdated thinking? And I have a response to this, and I think it really has to do with the person you're chasing, or not chasing, with the person you are romantically interested in. So I feel that maybe emotionally unavailable men might lose interest when women become available, because my understanding is that they associate love with dysfunction. But healthy men, I feel they appreciate consistency, they appreciate vulnerability. So, this whole idea that you have to be a challenge to keep a man, it feels very catered to more avoidant attachment and not emotional maturity. Steve says, I had a narcissistic girlfriend who played all these games and it was more of a competition than a relationship. Yes. And that's one of the things I always say, that narcissists are not collaborators, they're competitors. So I can see how you're describing it like that. Just a Jen says, me not reading it might explain why I'm still unmarried. Just kidding. Oh, just a Jen, we are going to learn a lot, I think. And I'm glad that we're having these discussions. And, the goal of this channel is to highlight narcissistic behavior, toxic behavior, and really grow from it, creating a circle that is healthy and genuine and authentic and not have to play games or walk on eggshells. Carol says narcissists have to compete compared to normal or empathic people who are more collaborative. Yes, Carol, you and I are on the same page. Peekaboo says you would want a relationship that evolves naturally. If you feel like surprising him or her, do it. Trust your gut. Yes. Spontaneity is like, how lovely is it to surprise your partner with something? I believe that. Just a Jen says, I think be honest, but that might be outdated these days. For me, a red flag is someone that plays games. 100%. Peekaboo says, would you want an emotionless partner? Not me, not me as well. Peekaboo, yes, we are learning what not to do. Yes, yes, yes. And at the end of this video, like once, I think we're on what, section 4? Once we're done with the chapter, I'll go through a couple of behaviors that this chapter has been trying to tell us to do, and I'll give an option for how to do it maybe in a healthier way. Lulu's mom says, agree with the competition thing. Also, they put down when you lose, they can't help themselves. Yeah. Yes, Steve. And I think I hope that this doesn't turn off people that maybe feel this is a I don't know, a woman going after a man or a woman trying to land a man. I feel like this is true in every romantic relationship. And I feel like even beyond that, these are principles that we could apply to every type of relationship with family, with friends, with professional, with colleagues and things. So I think, once you're able to have healthy patterns in one type of relationship, it might be easier to apply it to other types of relationships. And I feel maybe romantic relationships, it's a little bit more difficult to do because there's a lot more vulnerability there. But it's like practicing, right? Yeah. Lulu's mom says it's a people thing that could go for men as well as women. Yes. Thank you, Lulu's mom. Thank you. Thank you. So what do you think? Do you think Megan believes this? Do you think Megan uh, believes that if there are two available, men will lose interest? And I have an example that's exactly coming to mind that is straight from Megan's mouth. I don't know if you remember, but Megan, um, around the time she met Harry, there's been a bunch of times that she said that, that summer was going to be to quote Seinfeld, Summer of George, but it was going to be Summer of Megan. She was working, traveling, she had her own life, she had all these things she was doing. And one of her friends told her, take 1 week out of your schedule and don't plan anything and make that have space for magic, right? I think that's what was said. So Megan was already setting herself up, I think, for meeting Harry. I feel she had it planned a long time ago, but she made sure that her schedule was packed so she wouldn't be available. Just Jen says, I still think they met way earlier than they say. Yeah, I think so too. Lulu's mom, even in friendships, we've all suffocated people unintentionally. We learn to gauge. Yes, yes. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Okay. Megan stopped Harry and successfully roped him in. Yes, she did. And she used the rules. And maybe it comes down to that, what I was saying earlier, that it has to do maybe with emotional availability and the mental health of the person at the time. But yeah, let's get into section 5. Here we go. This one is wild. The passage begins. Your job now is to treat the man you are really, really crazy about like the man you're not that interested in. Don't call. Be busy sometimes. Do all of this from the beginning, from day one. Do it from the second you meet him. Or should we say, the second he meets you? The better you do the rules from the beginning, the harder he will fall for you. Okay, I'm going to stop right there because I didn't notice this. I didn't notice this. It said, it says, do it from the second you meet him, or should we say the second he meets you? And this is Megan. This is Megan. She had already met him in quotation marks, but he hadn't met her yet. This is what the implication is, isn't it? Oh no. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me continue. It says, keep thinking, how would I behave if I weren't that interested in him, and then behave that way? Would you offer endless encouragement to someone you didn't really like? Would you stay on the phone with him for hours? Of course not. Don't worry that busyness and lack of interest will drive him away. The men you don't like keep calling after you've turned them down, don't they? Oh my goodness. My goodness. I can't. I can't. Okay, the question I want to ask is, can you balance being true to yourself with this strategic dating behavior? And maybe the word isn't strategic, but manipulative, right? It's saying, you know, you want to invite this person somewhere, you want to give them a call, but no, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be authentic to yourself. And I think it's possible to be true to yourself and in quotation marks, be strategic. And it's essentially having boundaries. Having boundaries and standards aren't playing games, they're clarity. So if I'm not texting first, it's not because I'm following the rules. It's because either I'm busy and I don't have time, or I want to see mutual effort. To me, that's not manipulation, and that is discernment. Let's see. Let me catch up on the chat. Yep, he fell for the rules. Absolutely. Just a Jen, he did. This is blind date between Harry and Meghan play by play. Absolutely. Like you can see how much she really did use the rules. And we're only on chapter 2. Then he will date your friend or your sister, Steve says. Lulu's mom says she had the domain for their firstborn picked out before the first date, practically. Yeah. It's so wild to me that she is so impulsive and so strategic at the same time. Yeah. Peekaboo says, but wait, didn't she text him obsessively as well? She did text him a lot, according to I think in Spare, and we can just tell from Harry's behavior he was hooked even before the first date, right? Many of you are saying, can you balance being true to yourself with strategic dating behavior? And many of you are saying no, that you can't. And essentially, in quotation marks, what we're saying strategic is really just manipulative, right? Because I think you could have a strategy in how you approach relationships in making boundaries and having standards, right? So that is a type of strategy. Lulu's mom says you need to have flexibility in every relationship. Yes. Justa Jen says having boundaries is healthy. Being strategic sounds manipulative. You know what, Justa Jen? That's a good point. That's a good point. Carol says it was premeditative. It's absolutely mind blowing, Lulu's mom. Peekaboo says having boundaries isn't strategy, it's self care. Yes, I love it. I love it. It begins. Some women complain that the rules prevent them from being themselves or having fun. Why should dating be work? Some ask. But when they end up alone on Saturday night because they did not follow the rules, they always come back to us saying, okay, okay, tell me what to do. Doing what you want to do is not always in your best interest. On a job interview, you don't act like yourself. You don't eat cake if you're serious about losing weight. Similarly, it is not wise to let it all hang out and break the rules as soon as you begin dating a man. In the long run, it's not fun to break the rules. You could easily end up alone. Think long term. Imagine a husband you love, beautiful, intimacy, children, companionship, and growing old with someone who thinks you're a great catch. Okay, let's end the passage there. Um, Already it's saying, yeah. Okay, look, let's be real. I'm going to be at home by myself Saturday night, okay? By choice. I don't follow the rules. I don't feel bad that I don't follow the rules. But to say that, if you're alone on a Saturday night, it's because you didn't follow the rules. Yikes. This is, I mean, it's infomercial like, right? Do you guys all get that vibe too? And then comparing all of this to a job interview, and we'll address that in a second. And notice again how it frames it at the end. And this is how Meghan frames her relationship, right? Uh, Imagine a husband you love, all of these things, and growing old with someone who thinks you're a great catch. It's exactly what Meghan said. That man loves me so much, she said, right? Yeah. So let's get to the question here. Okay, so do you agree with the idea that dating should involve as much strategy as job interviews or dieting? In my opinion, absolutely not. And this metaphor makes me cringe. A job interview is transactional, dieting is often about control. And if you're approaching love and relationships with that same energy, you're not really building intimacy, you're performing. You're managing a performance. And I'm not trying to interview for love. I'm not trying to interview for relationships, whether it's romantic or familial or friendships. I want to build those relationships and not earn it because I've restricted my own authenticity. Peekaboo says, I'll see you all Saturday night. Lulu's mom is always going or is also going to be hanging with us. Just Jen says cake is valid breakfast. And actually, look at you, Carol and just a Jen. You two are on the same the same page. Carol says Meghan wanted to marry someone who got her higher in social status. Absolutely. Steve says all these rules are a complete turnoff. You would think this girl is hard work. And Steve, thank you for sharing that perspective. I would not be attracted to this. Like, I don't know, like if I was texting a guy and he purposely, now if he's busy, but he purposely avoided answering my text to play a game, that would be no. I would not like that at all. Carol says Meghan is transactional and controlling. Yes, absolutely. Shah says, have you noticed that Have you noticed, though, she says that about Harry and even the kids, but never recuperates that value? Exactly. Exactly, Shaz. It's all about what they bring to her, how much they love her, never her what she contributes back to them. And when she does talk about what she contributes back to them, it's always like it makes me feel good when I do this for these people, right? It's ultimately I don't do it because I want to make them feel good, but it feels good for me to make breakfast for them or whatever else. Justa Jen says they haven't seen my anxiety dieting. Peekaboo, what a weird comparison. Absolutely. Shaz says Megan wanted to be famous, but now she's infamous. Well said. And loves that too because it keeps people talking about her, which is what she wants in the end. Yep. Yep, she does want people talking about her. I do feel, though, the negative thing when we say negative things about her or when we criticize her, that really, really is it's not good for her. I think she absolutely hates that. She loves it when people are saying positive things about her. Carol says it is about what it does for Megan and not for other people. Yeah, yeah. Agreed. Agreed. And now let's finish out the chapter. There's only one paragraph left. And I did skip a little bit, but you can see how repetitive everything is, right? I don't want to take you all down that down that road. Okay, it says, the passage begins. There are many books and theories on this subject. All make wonderful promises, but the rules actually produce results. It's easy to know what's going on when you do the rules. It's very simple. If he calls you, pursues you, asks you out, it's the rules. If you have to make excuses for his behavior, for example, he didn't call after the first date because he's still hung up on his ex girlfriend, and you have to think about every word he said until your head hurts and you call him, it's not the rules. Forget what he's going through. For example, fear of commitment or not ready for a relationship. Remember, we don't play therapist when we do the rules. If he calls and asks you out, it's the rules. Anything else is conversation. Okay, so the passage ends there. This manipulation, this is like if he doesn't call you, it's because you're not doing the right thing. And if he does call you, it's because you're following the rules. It's not that maybe he values you as a person. It's not that maybe he really wants to get to know you. It's the only reason he calls you back is because you follow the rules. This is just so superficial. It becomes clearer and clearer as we're going through, and we're on chapter 2. Okay, so what I want to ask you about this last section is, have you ever wasted time overanalyzing? And this is the key word here, overanalyzing someone's mixed signals. And I can tell you, because I grew up around narcissists and my stepmom was a malignant narcissist, and it's very dangerous to not be hypervigilant, to anticipate what the next movement's going to be. So you study, analyze. So I am absolutely guilty of doing this, and I do it to this day because it's a matter of safety, right? And this is something that is going to take practice to get, my nervous system to calm down. And I personally, I don't just overanalyze romantic mixed signals. I overanalyze my family or my friends or at workplace. Like if my boss says something to me, I'm like, that's it. I'm getting fired. I'm getting fired. That's it. I'm losing my job right now. So this is definitely something that I do. I've gotten better at recognizing when I'm doing it. But yeah, what do you all think? Just a Jen says, imagine putting so much weight what other random people think of you. And that's exactly what Megan does. Yeah. Just a Jen says, this was written by a narcissist. Prove me wrong. Yeah, allegedly. Shaz says, if he doesn't call me, it's his loss, not mine. Well said. Well said. And ultimately, with some people, it's, there's chemistry and there's mutual attraction, and sometimes there isn't. It's just the game. You can't, I don't know, you can't want to pursue romantic something with every single person, in my opinion. Lulu's mom says they want fuel and nothing more. Steve says, I think this book is aimed at narcissists or sociopaths. And I mean, it's easy when you lack empathy and have a hard time feeling emotions, it's easy to follow these rules. It's almost natural, right? To not respond. This is dysfunctional. He's just not into you. Yeah, and he's just not into you because you didn't follow the rules. If you follow the rules, he'd be fawning all over you, right? Lulu's mom says, I agree. Some things on the list are making normal look nutty. You should go with your gut. Carol overanalyzes constantly. Yeah, I definitely 100% do. I 100% do. Okay, guys. So what I have next are some toxic rules that we just read and some healthy alternatives. Okay, so let me get that up. Okay, so the first toxic rule is don't share too much, don't act like yourself, you're on a job interview. And the healthy version of this is in my opinion, be real but within boundaries. You don't have to trauma dump on the first date, but also you're not auditioning for love. If someone only wants the curated version of you, they're not choosing you, they're choosing an avatar. And actually, is very important to not reveal too much about your personal self when you're first meeting someone. And that's not a game, okay? That is having boundaries. If you're on a first date with a person, this person has not earned their place in your inner circle. So they don't need to have the information that your inner circle has. So recently, and I'm going to share a story with you guys, and I am so proud of myself, really. So someone reached out to me and for some for something, and this person was an unhealthy person in my life. They asked me to relay a message, just a superficial message like, oh, so and so was asking about how this other person was doing. This other person, I don't talk to them either because they're toxic too. Like, oh my gosh, how have I had so many like toxic, manipulative, narcissistic type people in my life? I don't know. I don't know. But my original knee jerk reaction was to tell person A, oh, well, I don't talk to person B anymore. And what would that lead to? What happened? Why don't you talk to them? And here I am oversharing with someone about my personal life. And this person hasn't earned that space to know what's happening in my personal life. So what I did end up saying is, and I'm very proud of myself, I said, "Hey, thanks for passing that along." I didn't give any indication or any promise that I was going to go tell person B what person A said, but this person A has not made it into the inner circle, right? So, and the reason that this is so important when you first meet someone is because people within the cluster B family, they are collecting data and they will use it to manipulate you. They will use it to love bomb you. They will use it to eventually, if they can, use it against you. So just be very careful when you meet someone in any setting to not share information that's not critical to it's a need to know basis, right? Essentially. Yep, Steve says using a strategy to get a relationship is war, not love. Yep. Shaz says, perfect response, trust your gut feeling. Thank you. And it's about destroying these old habits because my original knee-jerk reaction was get into the drama. And then it was like, but I don't want to share this with this person. And I don't think that this person is going to share their private life with me. It would not be an even exchange of information, right? So don't even engage. I love it, peekaboo. Go do it yourself. You go talk to person B. Why do I have to talk to person B? That's funny. Carol says Harry was already bitter, but he was a perfect target. Yep, absolutely. All right, let's get into tip two or toxic rule two. Here we go. Wait, did I do that twice? I did. I put rule number 1 2 times. Okay. Well, here's the next rule. The toxic version is let him chase even if you like him, never call him. The healthy alternative is respond to effort with effort. Initiate when you feel called to and not when strategizing. If the only reason that you're not reaching out is to manipulate someone into wanting you more, It's exactly like what we've been saying. That's not a relationship, it's a power game. Eliminate the middleman. Oh, you are all so, so great. I love it. Shaz says exactly, but he had learned to live with his anger, and when Megan came along and dragged it out of him. Yep, you have the right to say no, Steve. And isn't that so important? Isn't that something that takes practice to learn? Because when you're a people pleaser, the hardest thing to do is to say no. There's nothing wrong with saying no. It's about respecting yourself. It's about respecting your boundaries and your time. And it depends on what you're saying no to, but absolutely. Yep. Just as Jen says, I'm so sad for the Wales family. They really must have mourned losing Harry initially. I hope they are safe from his influence from now on. I feel there's a lot of wisdom between William and Catherine, like put together, and I really do feel like they're the perfect match. Like, whereas William might be a little bit more stern, Catherine might have a little bit more empathy. And I think putting them together really creates a good balance. Of course, I don't know them personally. And this is just what, looking at it from the outside, they just look like they have a really, really good partnership. Okay, the next toxic rule is always appear busy, even if you're not. The healthy alternative is have a full life for you and not to perform scarcity. Being genuinely fulfilled is attractive. Pretending to be booked just to seem desirable is emotional baiting. It's a type of manipulation. If you're really out there enjoying your life, pursuing your interests, having hobbies, uh, gaining more knowledge, then you're just naturally have things to do. You're living a fulfilled life, I feel. Peekaboo saying you'll get sucked in being the messenger. You know the saying, don't shoot the messenger. Why would I set up myself to be their punching bag? Absolutely. And part of me wonders if person A knew that I wasn't talking to person B and they were using it as a bait to pull me into the conversation, because that could very well have been the case. And I nipped it in the bud. Yeah. Steve says William and Catherine are really strong together, and Carol agrees. Just a Jen. Thank you so much, Just a Jen. And Just a Jen says, I have revealing the Narc videos to watch. Of course, I'm busy. I appreciate it, guys. You guys are so awesome. Oh, also, I want to say this month I haven't been able to post a lot on Patreon. So my Patreon is not charging this month. Just make sure, if you want to see the supplemental thing I prepared for this chapter, I'm going to put it for paid members only, but I'm not charging this month and it shouldn't charge you. So give it a shot and try to get it for free. And then if you find that this might be a helpful in the future, feel free to keep the membership. All right, let's go to the next rule. Okay, the next rule is don't tell the toxic version is don't tell him your problems. Men don't like complainers. And the healthier alternative is be discerning about when and how you share vulnerability. And this is exactly what we were just talking about. People need to earn that place, and you want a partner that you can rely on. It's not complaining, it's vulnerability, it's relying, it's seeking wisdom and guidance. Real intimacy requires real feelings. And if you're walking on eggshells about being too much or revealing too much or worried you're going to sound like you're complaining, you're shrinking to fit someone else's emotional maturity. So Shaz says, I will never forgive Harry for slating the UK. Yeah, I can't believe some of the things that came out of his mouth. Shaz, I can't believe it. Carol says, don't reveal vulnerabilities unless you can trust exactly. And that's where the boundaries are, right? Knowing, valuing your personal space and knowing when you trust someone enough to share. Yeah. Yep. You guys, I have to tell you, I'm enjoying this a lot. Let me know if you're enjoying going through this. Excuse me. Let me know if you're enjoying this too, because I feel it's so much more fun to go through this book with a group of you in an intimate setting like we have, and really turning it into lessons and having this discussion. I just love it. I think it's beautiful. Steve says you should trust your partner to support you. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Just a Jen. I'm having a lot of fun. Carol says MSM wants royal family to forgive without accountability. Like, really? Yeah, they're glossing over Harry's bad behavior and Meghan's bad behavior. Here, the royal family, as far as we know, are demonstrating boundaries, right? Essentially, that's what they're doing. And the MSM is promoting things that are not very healthy. And, I have to tell you, a lot of the things that are in the popular world, I would say in quotation marks, are not very healthy. And I'm going to give you two examples of what I mean. And they're two different TV shows. I really like the show General Hospital. It's a soap opera and it's over the top. People are downright toxic in the soap operas, right? And I think if you watch it so much, it becomes regular behavior. Sorry, excuse me, guys. You expect or you normalize the breaking of boundaries and the breaking of trust and all of these things. And the other one I think of that's similar are all of those like Love is Blind shows, those romantic shows where, dude, you don't even know me. Why are you saying you love me? You don't even know me. You don't know what I'm like at, I don't know, Christmas time or on Valentine's Day or in the summer when it gets hot. You haven't seen me blow a gasket yet, you know? So it's just, I watch these shows for entertainment. And I think the healthier that I've been getting, the more it's like, oh my goodness, this feels so toxic to me. Let's see. Carol says, this is fun, turning this book on its head and revealing healthy relationship dynamics. I think so too. I think so too. And I love getting all of your input as well. Lulu's mom says, empaths' boundaries are happy fences made of straw and easily blown down. Hazards of the job, you learn to build stronger fences. Yes, yes. Shaz says it was Valentine Lowe that angered me on his stint on The Sun, where he said that as a father, Charles needs to forgive. He was the one who broke the bullying from MNH, and yet now he kisses their high knees. Yeah. Justin Jen says, I loved Arrested Development, and that was a bunch of narcs and sociopaths. There's money in the banana stand. I need to watch that show again. It's a good show. All right. Okay. So let's go to the next toxic rule. And essentially it says, do the rules right and he'll be obsessed with you forever. The healthy alternative to this is don't seek someone that's obsessed with you. Seek connection. This obsession with time will fade. And maybe we're already starting to see it fade in Harry. Maybe. Grounded, reciprocal love doesn't need tricks to last. You shouldn't have to win in quotation marks, someone to keep them. Let's see. Carol says, I am family oriented, but where is the accountability? If Charles forgives, Harry will repeat the behavior. Yep. Shaz says, Meghan was in a Lifetime film called The Dater's Handbook, and I'm sure she still sees that film. She uses that film for reference. Justa Jen says, illusions, Michael, not tricks. Oh my goodness. Lizzie says, I don't want an obsessed partner. I want a healthy relationship. Yes, I don't want the burden. Isn't it a burden having someone that's obsessed with you? That's a lot. There was what was that book called? I think it might just be called Boundaries. That might just be the title. And one of the things that the two authors teach is that every person needs, I think, like 6 people in their inner circle. And one of those is their romantic partner. But to have a circle around you where you can distribute your, not your problems, but what's the word I'm looking for? That you can run ideas by, because it's too much on one person. Yeah, that's just codependence is very unhealthy. Yes, no one wants that much attention. It's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I mean, you know what? Actually, look at Harry and Meghan. Harry has turned Meghan into an obsession, and Meghan is sick of it. Look at how she treats him. Carol says Harry failed to understand that actions have consequences. Yeah. Yeah. Justa Jen says, I'm very sensitive to others' energy, and the obsessive people always put me off. Yep. Yes, your support group, Lulu's mom. Exactly. Exactly. It's, and also it's almost a safety net. Like if you want to reach out to person A and they're not available, there's person B, right? Or there may be like maybe person B you go to for professional things, and maybe person D you go to for I don't know, finances, right? Like, yeah, small group of friends, sign me up. I just can't keep up with more than like 6 people at a time. Yeah. Stand in the corner, Harry, Steve says. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's go to the next one. Just can't. Okay, it says number this is the sixth one. I have one more after this. Don't act desperate even if you are. And the healthy alternative to this one is address your attachment wounds and don't cover them. If you're spiraling with anxiety, pretending to be chill will not heal that. You don't need to suppress your needs. You need to learn how to express them with clarity and self respect. Getting different viewpoints is a good thing. Absolutely, peekaboo. Yeah, absolutely. And finally, let me go to the last one. I have mixed feelings about, but I'll get into why. The toxic rule is let him propose and let him make all the big moves. The healthy alternative is healthy relationships involve mutual decision making and open conversations. Now, I do agree with let him propose, and it's because I love tradition, but letting him make all the big moves, I mean, there needs to be an equal contribution of ideas to make the big moves. Otherwise, I mean, I don't like it. I don't like that at all. And in a dynamic where only one person is initiating all the big steps or making all of the big decisions, that's not a partnership. It's being passive and it's being disguised. All right, everyone. So those are all the rules that I had. After this video posts, and once I post it on my regular YouTube, feel free to drop any comments and let's continue. Let's continue this conversation. It's been so fun and interesting. I love it. If this was interesting to you, please like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you'll know every time I drop a new video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking for a meaningful way to support something beyond the screen, I'd love for you to consider making a donation to the National Domestic Violence Hotline in lieu of super chats and super stickers. They provide 24/7 support and resources for people in unsafe or overwhelming situations, whether that's emotional, physical, or just hard to name. Their information is on the screen should you need to contact them, and you'll find the link to donate in the description of this video. Every little bit helps, and it means a lot. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.